My name is Aatish Neupane and today I'll be presenting on our KaiPlay 2020 paper titled A Review of Gamified Fitness Tracker Apps and Future Directions. An estimated 85 million fitness trackers will be sold this year alone. A large number of apps and games in mobile app stores utilize data from fitness trackers. Unfortunately, we don't know what kind of apps they are or what core features and game elements they incorporate. Understanding the current app and game design space is important because it can help identify new app and game genres, collection of features that co-occur, and unexplored areas of the design space ripe for innovation. Creating a comprehensive list of fitness tracker apps and games and their characteristics will also support future research that can examine subsets of the apps and games in more detail. To fill this research gap, we address the following research questions. What game elements do commercial activity fitness tracking apps utilize? How do game elements relate to ratings and popularity? How do different game elements cluster and relate to one another? And what areas of the design space are still unexplored? We've performed a systematic review of mobile apps and games that utilize step count data captured from a smartphone, smartwatch, or separate fitness tracker such as a Fitbit. Only apps that included step count data as a primary feature were included. Different app stores were used to compile the list, which was then winnowed down to 103 games as described in the paper. Two raters then independently tagged each app with a set of game elements that were used. Inter-rater reliability ranged from 0.72 to 0.95. Finally, we performed network analysis and visualization to better understand which games elements co-occur with other game elements. Before I jump into quantitative results, I would like to give a general overview on common types of apps that we encountered. First, we saw a large number of apps utilizing competitive game elements such as leaderboards together with social influences. One such example is the official Fitbit app, which displays your steps together with steps from your friends. We also saw many apps utilizing real-life incentive where the number of steps help you earn money or donate to a charity. There were few apps like Zombies Run in which your step count helps move a narrative story forward. Then there were a handful of apps that felt like canonical games with a large number of game elements used in traditional games. One such example is Fitness RPG, which is a role-playing game that incorporates a step counter component. In the table to the right, we can see the total number of apps containing a particular game element. Elements like social influences and goals exist in more than 50% of the apps in the dataset, whereas apps containing, say, badges and plot are very infrequent. The image on the right shows the unfiltered network diagram, with rectangular nodes represent game elements and edges represent co-occurrence of game elements within the same app. Edges with thicker lines indicate that more apps share the elements. For example, game element pairs such as goals and social influences, as well as challenges and competition, appear frequently in the same app. In this picture and the next, the color of the nodes is based on clusters identified by the Leuven community detection algorithm, which groups nodes together based on the weighted edges. This image is a filtered version of the same network which only shows edges that are important to at least one of the two nodes they connect. It helps draw attention to common game element combinations like challenges, competition, and social influences, which often show up in the same games. It can also help identify combinations of game elements that rarely, if ever, show up together. For example, in the figure we can see that collaborative plot-based games are uncommon. We hope other designers will see different gaps in the design space outlined in this paper and help explore them through novel game designs and research. With the widespread adoption of fitness trackers coupled with mobile devices, a new gaming platform has emerged. This paper is a first step at understanding the ways that game elements have been incorporated into fitness tracker apps. Our hope is that it will serve as a baseline and launching pad for a variety of new studies that can help us understand and better design compelling fitness tracker games or gamified apps. With this paper, future work can now trace the evolution of game elements over time, identify emerging game genres, justify a game's novelty, and examine specific techniques used to implement various game elements. A full list of all games and their metadata from the app stores and their game elements is publicly available at BYU Scholar Archive. We believe the resulting dataset from this research will also be helpful for app designers to tackle design challenges that arise when developing gamified fitness tracker apps. Replication of this work in future years will help identify long-term trends and other emergent game genres in the game fitness tracker space. As game designers ourselves, we are also anxious to see this work help identify gaps in the current design space that may be ripe for innovation. Thank you.